I want to show you how to make homemade bread. There's thousands of bread recipes out there with different flours. Some have fresh yeast, some have dried yeast, some have no yeast. And there's so much choice, but I want to give you the most basic one because there's so many of you that have never made bread before. This recipe I'm going to give you now is an absolute classic. It's so simple. We've got really humble ingredients. So first of all, get yourself 650 millilitres of tepid water. That means kind of like warmish. And we're going to put that into a large bowl. And I'm going to add 1 sachet of dried yeast. Give it a nice little mix up with a fork. If you want to put a little pinch of sugar in there or a little honey, you can do that as well. It just helps to wake the yeast up. And if you leave it for a couple of minutes, you'll see the bubbles starting. Now those bubbles are carbon dioxide, okay? And that carbon dioxide will become the little bubbles in your spongy bread. And listen, if you haven't got yeast, please don't worry about it. You can make flatbread, fantastic. So we've got 1 kilo of strong flour that we're going to add into this water. So I'll add most of that kilo, holding just a little bit back. And I'm simply going to mix it up with a fork. So I'm using a fork at the moment because it keeps your hands clean. I'm going to give it a nice pinch of salt. You definitely don't want bland bread. So keep using the fork until the very last minute. And then you can use your hands. Now look, whether it's adults or kids, this is a brilliant thing to do. So you can see it's getting sticky. So if you get sticky hands, just take some of that flour and dust your hands down, move it around, and we can pretty much clean the side of the bowl. Punch it, move it, knead it. There's no real right or wrong way. Just keep it moving. I think a lot of people are really scared of making bread, and it's so easy. So look, let's get that bowl out. Give it a little dusting with my hand. And let's knead. So just keep moving the dough. We want the dough to be elastic. Now, I can get rid of this board. So there's no right or wrong way to knead. Just kind of move it, sort of move it apart like this, stretch it, and you can move it around like that. You can pick it up and throw it down. But you know what? If you've got kids, it's a fun thing to do. It's an activity. All the different flavours you can do, the shapes, the sizes. In a tin, on a tray, in a cheesecake mould, little ones, big ones. Do you flavour it? Do you take leftovers and put it inside a bread? Do you do pizza, pizzetta, focaccia, calzone? Like, there's so many different things you can do. And I think now more than ever, it's quite nice to do this. Something that feels really therapeutic. And I know it might sound like I'm being a little bit romantic, but I think if we can achieve anything in these times of change, it's like clawing back some of our reliance on convenience. So look, just keep kneading it. Actually, I can already feel the yeast working. Why? Because it's warm. Now, I think it's had a good knead. I'll give it a little dusting from a height. I'll use my 2 hands just to go underneath it like this. A little bit of flour on top. Just put your hands underneath it like that to create a little ball. And then, my friends, there's your dough. That's going to double in size, like that. It's going to be amazing. Let me show you. So I'll put this in a bowl, like that, and we'll cover it with like a damp cloth. And in about an hour, hour and a half, this will happen. And have a little look. Same quantity, same recipe. Look at that. Very cool. Look at the comparison. So what we want to do is now knock it back, okay? So we'll do that by punching it like that, and you'll see it just like boof, collapse. Now in that hour, hour and a half, it's developed flavour. So more flavour, more texture. I'll let this prove, but let me show you what we want to do to this. Once you've knocked it back, you know, you can just take that out. We'll give it another little short knead, just for a second. You can see all the little bubbles, see? Look at that. So we'll knock that out. Now, this kilo batch of dough is enough to make 2 large loaves. I quite like, you know, using the dough in different ways. So let's turn half of this dough into a sort of rustic loaf, okay? So I'll just slice this in half, like that. Look at the bubbles, guys, look at the bubbles. It smells amazing already. So we're going to use half of this for a lovely loaf. So I'll get a regular tray, give it a little dust. I'll just give it one little knead like this. So as you knock that air out, if you wanted to, you could shape this into anything you want. You could make it into a nice round loaf, or you could plait it, or you could shape it any way you like. I quite personally like making it into a sort of rustic slipper. Just give it a little tap like that and just stretch it. Now we're gonna let that prove again for about half an hour to an hour, and that will double in size, right? So just have a look at it now. You want it to be at least twice as big, at least, and just put it in a draft-free place. Bit of flour on the top like that. I quite like doing it rustic like that because it kind of breaks and puffs up and it just looks really, really rustic. So that I'm going to leave for an hour. Now, with the other half of the dough, we can do some very exciting things. Just move the dough around on a floured surface. I want to use a rolling pin just to roll this out to about the size of a tea towel, okay? Now, what I'm going to make is a twister bread. So this is a rolled up bread that cooks almost like a Chelsea bun. So it means it has a crunchy outside and a really spongy inside, but it also means you can flavour those layers. And that makes it really fun for adults or for kids, right? So we can get really creative. You could take flavours that you just love. Also, you can go sweet or savoury, right? So it could be just jam. It could be, you know, honey and raisins. It could be chocolate paste and squashed up bananas. Or then you could go to things like, you know, smoked ham slices, just torn up, a little bit of cheese and tomatoes. You can use up anything that's to hand in your fridge. So roll the dough out to the size of like a tea towel. And then you can grab some pesto. It could be the green one. It could be the red one. So get your pesto on there like that. And then just use your hands to roll it out. Look at the colour. So you can really flavour it any way you want, as simple or as flashy as you like, depending on what you've got. I've got some olives here. Now, I haven't got mozzarella, which I would normally use, but I've got some lovely cheddar. So just use a little knife and get little nuggets like that, and these will melt beautifully. And look, the kind of cooking happening at the moment, when you can't necessarily get exactly what you want, that's the spirit of just kind of, you know, keep cooking and carry on. And we can make it delicious. So the cheddar goes in, and then just fold over the dough like that, and then roll it up. Now, of course, this is the golden bit. This is what makes it delicious. So you get the layers of flavour, crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside. So in half, then in half, then in half again. Look at that, joyful. So, get a little pan like this. Have a look at the inside, guys, come on. This is the joy of it, right? It's fantastic. So in we go. And what's nice is even the little gaps that you get, they'll all prove into each other. Okay, so we're done. So let this prove until it's doubled in size, along with the rustic loaf, and then I'll bang them both in the oven and show you what it looks like. Home-cooked bread, hallelujah. Okay, so the room smells absolutely incredible. I proved those two breads until doubled in size, then whacked them in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for about 35 minutes. And here goes. This is our lovely rustic loaf. Look at that, really beautiful, very simple. And of course, you can use that for so many things. From your standard bread, the ultimate toasty, you know, but leftovers, croutons, you can do loads of things. And then here is the twister bread. Let's just slip it out, slide it. Look at that, you can see it falling apart, guys, look. So what we've created is something a bit different, something a bit fun. I think we could all do with a bit of that, right? But then if you look in here, if you just kind of like peel it away, see how it just kind of like cooks into each other, but then you pull it away, and then you can almost unwind it. Delicious. It's all about combos, right? So we've taken really humble ingredients, right? Flour, water, making bread, a simple basic bread. Then we've had a bit of fun with it. Really nice. Use your imagination. Let's have a look at the bread. Lovely, look at that. Let's have a look. Spongy, simple, nice thin crust. You know, it's a simple bread, but once you've mastered that, then you can change up the flours, you can be more advanced. Ultimately, it's having fun with simple ingredients and putting a little twist. I'm going to show you how to make the most beautiful homemade wild garlic butter and the most incredible tear and share spongy milk buns that are going to give you the best garlic bread in your whole life. You're going to love it. Look at that. Beautiful wild garlic. There's loads around at the moment. So you'll see it in woods, you'll see it in fields, and I've even got some growing here, which is an absolute dream. If you get them back, wash them in a little bit of bicarbonate of soda, give it a really good wash, spin it. If you're worried, you can always just dip them into boiling water just for 30 seconds and take it out. So I'm gonna make the most beautiful wild garlic butter. 200 grams of wild garlic to 2 packs of butter. Really best quality butter you can get. I'll just whiz it up. So give it a little whiz, put in your butter. It's really that simple. And you're gonna get the most incredible green butter. I'll take this off. The smell is absolutely incredible. It's a beautiful thing. I'll show you one technique for laying it out in a cool way. So I'm gonna do a little bar of flavored butter. I get myself a nice piece of greaseproof paper. I'll take this beautiful butter. Look at that. Look at the color. Come on. The color is phenomenal. Squash this down like that. A little lemon zest just works so flipping well. And also what's very, very good is fairly generously, like, what was I gonna say, not scrimpled. What does scrimpled mean? Whole salt flakes, right? So you kind of feel it in your palate. So nice chunks of that. And then what we're gonna do is just roll it up properly. And once you've rolled it up like that, just twist it opposite ways to get that tension. And that is gonna make the most amazing wild garlic butter. Now, what I normally do is put it in the fridge, let it firm up, then I'll cut through it into little portions, roll it back up in this again, put it in the freezer, and then the next time you do a steak, a little bit of wild garlic butter. Next time roast chicken, wild garlic butter. In the depths of winter, when there's no wild garlic around, pasta, wild garlic butter. Like, it's like a gift. Another way you can do it, come and have a look at this, is do exactly what I did, but pop out your wild garlic ice cubes. I would probably suggest that you have one just for savory things, because you might go put some water in there and go and do like your little cocktail, and you're like, there's a little like funky flavor going on, but these are really cool, right? Maybe even more user-friendly, right? So the next time you go and do some humble steamed veg, wild garlic butter. You get the idea? It's very cool. The idea, I mean, I guess it's preserving. The idea of taking like the bounty of the beginnings of spring and celebrating it all year round is a beautiful thing. And just to finish some things off, these buds, you know, I said you could use the leaves, the stalks, the roots, and these are the buds. These have been washed, and what I'll do is cover that with a lovely vinegar. This is a cider vinegar, cider and garlic vibe. I would hit it fairly generously with salt. So the salt and the vinegar, that will preserve it, right? So it will be stable. You could have little mustard seeds in there. You could put a little honey in there as well. Very, very nice. In fact, I will do that. A little honey is nice, sweet and sour. Once you've taken these beautiful buds and you're left with this liquor, don't throw it away. You can use that for making lovely dressings, lovely marinades. You can just bottle it. Bottle it as a kind of wild garlic vinegar. Joy. Oh. So submerge that, lid on top, give it a shake, and let that pickle away. It will be a gift that keeps on giving. Right, let's get into bread. This is gonna be the most beautiful tear and share, soft, spongy, white garlic bread, right? Little rolls. The recipe's really nice. 800 grams of organic plain flour. So it's not a strong flour. We're gonna go into here with 100 grams of butter, which I will just kind of break up with my hands. In here, I have 500 mils of tepid milk. The reason we want that little bit of heat is to activate the yeast. If you go to the supermarket, these little sachets that you get are always 7 grams. So 7 grams of dried yeast goes in. It's dormant currently. The minute it hits the temperature and humidity of the milk, and all the things in milk, which are natural sugars and proteins and things like that, it is waking up. That yeast is waking up now. So it's going to get going. Obviously, yeast will feed on the proteins in the flour and the milk, and in return for that, it will belch lovely gases that will give you the lift in your bread to make it soft and spongy and beautiful. So mixing that yeast, just to kind of make it even happier, I'm going to give it a nice teaspoon of honey. That will very, very slightly sweeten the bread, but not much. Nothing really worth talking about, but it will make the yeast very happy. It will now start sort of bubbling and fizzing. That's what you want. So look, typically when making bread, you wouldn't add oil or butter, typically. And of course, you'll use stronger flours often, and you'll make a dough that's much more elastic. But what I'm after here is an enriched dough, something that's soft and rich and really luxurious. And you know, if you think about other enriched doughs, things like brioche is enriched, things like scones are, lovely croissants, you know, they're enriched with layers of fat. So by adding a little oil or butter as we have, you're going to just get more flavor, more tenderness. It will color much nicer naturally, which I think in this context for lovely garlic bread is going to be a beautiful, beautiful thing. Another thing you can do is add some salt now. Very, very important. So 2 good teaspoons of sea salt, right? Don't under-season the bread. It will just taste like thin air and it's not going to be good. So what I do now is just make a little well in the center. I'm going to slowly pour in the milk with the yeast and honey, like that. I'll use my fork to start off with, because I don't want to get too messy. So move it around with your fork until it's too hard to do. Then we bring in the hands. If you're worried, you can put a little bit of flour on your hands like that, but just start bringing it together like that and just move it around that bowl. And ideally, we'll kind of semi-clean that bowl from all the sides. So I can get rid of that bowl now. And just have a nice little knead up. So let's just talk about kneading for a second. You can do it on a board if you wish. It's much easier to do it on a lovely wet surface. So look, when you look at bakers, they're so talented and, you know, they're kind of sitting there kind of giving it all of this and, you know, making it feel very technical. But look, kneading is just moving it, stretching it, pulling it, giving the dough a little bit of chaos. So we want to knead it to develop structure, to really make the gluten kind of bond together and get kind of elastic and strong. By doing that, when the yeast starts doing its job and releasing the gases, it won't just kind of disappear into the ceiling, right? It will stay in here, like bending and twisting. And that's what gives you the bubbles that give you the sponge and the softness and the deliciousness that we all love so much. So I would say just like 4 or 5 minutes, if you can, just lean on it, move it, pull it apart, pick it up, slap it down. When it's smooth and silky and it has a nice little kind of bounce back, see that? Look, if I'm just touching it, it's bouncing back. We're in a good place. And I'm going to let this prove. So normally around an hour to an hour and a half, or until it doubles in size. So you can see the size of it now. Once that's doubled in size, it's going to be kind of up around here. So what I do is just get myself a clean cloth that's wet and been wrung out, and I can cover it, and then I can just leave it here depending on the temperature. If it's cold, then you might want to put it somewhere a little bit warmer. Then the yeast will get going, the bread will start blooming, the flavors and structure will develop, and then we can shape it for making our beautiful buns. Right, let's have a clean down. So this has had an hour. Have a little look. Look how satisfying that is. Plump and gorgeous. What I want to do now is just break this down into lots of little rolls. Have a little look in the structure in here. Just look. That's what we've created. The smell is amazing. So you can see almost like those honeycomb gaps of air. Now what we do is we knock back. And that essentially means, you know, we bash the air out, and you'll be like, well, why would you bash the air out? You've just put it there. We just want a better end product. So what I want to do now is get 45 rolls. I'm not going to get the scales out. Like, do me a favor, will you? So what I'm going to do is just roll it out to a fairly consistent sausage like this. And let's kind of 25, 12 and a half. Go with the maths, all right? So that's give or take about right. So 12 and a half. I'll roll this out. And it's about the size like a squash ball, like that. I'm not actually counting, but I should be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. If you wanted to do a bigger loaf, absolutely you can. If you wanted to do lovely little burger buns, that would be quite a glorious thing. So there's no rules. Into this tray, a little bit of oil. So rub around the bottom and then the sides. Now let me just dry my hands of olive oil because they're a bit lubricated. And I want to get a little bit of traction between my hand and the marble surface or your kitchen top, right? So I'm just putting my hand on top like this, and I've kind of closed my thumb like that, and I'm moving around like that. So 1, 2, 3, and then I go straight in. When you're a bit more experienced, you can go 2 hands. So 1, 2, 3, and straight in. So you can just rattle through these in no time at all. At this stage in the game, if there's little variations in shape and form, like, don't sweat it. As it proves, it will double in size, and this will become a sea of beautiful, bulbous, blossoming buns. A lot of bees there, right? What I love to do now, which really does finish it off nice, is take a little brush. So just giving it a brush of milk will just give it the most beautiful golden colour. Don't forget you've got the butter inside the dough as well, so that's also going to add to the colour. They need to prove again now for the second and last time. Put it somewhere which is draft-free, cover it with a damp cloth, make it taut so it doesn't sort of sit on the buns. Once they've doubled in size, then we can bake them in the oven, and I'll show you how to do that next. So 1 hour later, and we have those beautiful things. So you can see how it's doubled in size, all these little gaps have been filled up, and it's actually very, very beautiful. So pick it up gently, don't bang it around, don't lose the air. I've preheated the oven to 160 degrees Celsius, which is about 320 Fahrenheit. And I'm going to cook it for half an hour until golden and gorgeous. And then the fun stuff happens with the garlic butter. So in we go, nice and gently, in the middle, half an hour. Come on, look at that. That is a very beautiful, very satisfying thing. It's funny, in my time working in restaurants around the world, things like garlic bread just seem to be one of the best sellers consistently around the world. We just love it. So then I take that amazing garlic butter and just start putting it on top. Little bombs of it. Then we can just start brushing it. And of course, that beautiful, sort of pungent but mild, beautiful garlic flavour is just going to melt in between all the little cracks and crannies of the bread. Just look at that. Amazing green butter. Just melting and drizzling down. Pure style there. When you do these tear and share things, I'm always like, I'm so excited right now, but I don't know which one to take. It's like too much choice. I'm going to go for that bulbous. See, I want that one. It's in the middle. It's like it's in the middle of these. So let's just see what we can do. Let's get in there. Let's get in there. Look. Oh. Oh my goodness. Look at that. That's the one I want. That's the one that's got my name on it. So there you go. Beautiful tear and share. Wild garlic milk buns. Just a joy. All I have to do now is try one. Soft, spongy, pungent, mild. How can you be pungent and mild? But it is. It's kind of pungent and mild. You've got those little hits of lemon zest as well, which are just so good. The little crystals of salt. That, my friend, is a delicious garlic bread. Right there. So what are you waiting for? Get amongst it. Get out there, get foraging, get washing, get making. You're gonna love it. Enjoy. Breakfast, or a little dessert bread. Chocolate, orange, nuts, crunch, soft, hot. Come on, let's just go for it. So I'm gonna give you the easiest, most reliable bread recipe that you can embrace in your life. When you make bread, it's a beautifully soulful thing. It really is therapeutic, it's fun, it's creativity, and I think you're gonna love it. So look, right here, I've got 1 kilo of strong organic bread flour. If you go to any supermarket or deli, if you search out the organic flour, strong, and that's going to get you somewhere really close to perfection, right? We can make a little well in the center here. And then here I've got 650 milliliters of tepid water. That means lukewarm. When I take a sachet of yeast, and they're the same in all the supermarkets, 7 grams, right? Just open it up, pour the yeast in. It's funny old stuff, but that was dormant and asleep. And now with a little heat, we're going to wake it up. So in the middle, we'll go in with the yeast. Like that. Now, we need to season this flour. So a couple of teaspoons of sea salt. So in we go. And then I'll use a fork just to kind of keep my hands clean to start mixing it up. Bring in a little bit of the sides. So you go from water to a kind of light slurry, then it will thicken up. So look, as the fork does the hard work of the sticky business, like we're bringing it all together, we can start getting a bit more aggressive now and bringing this flour in. You can see it getting firmer. Because there's a bit more water in this recipe, what you get is a lighter, softer, spongier, plumper dough, and it will give you great results. It also means you've got to knead it a bit more to not make it sticky. It's quite therapeutic. Like if you love someone, put it into the bread. If you've got good thoughts, put it into the bread. If you hate someone, put it into the bread. Take out the, you know, like just get amongst it and just knead until all of these little bits are completely clean, right? You're going to do your own washing up by kneading. So I'm just pushing it and pulling it, can you see? And then I'll pull it back. So when I stop kneading this dough, you'll see it kind of starting to bounce back a little bit, like a kind of rubber band. There's some other techniques where you can kind of just throw it down, pull it over like that. But really, your job is just to keep moving it until it's shiny, smooth, and really elastic. Okay, so I'm going to take that bowl. I'm just going to lube it up with some olive oil, just so it doesn't stick. So get the dough in a bowl. Just put a little oil on top. So what I tend to do is just put a wet cloth over here and let it slowly prove. That's one batch made. I made one exactly the same, which has been in the fridge for like 2.5 hours. And this is what happens. And I tend to just leave it in the fridge all weekend. So look at that. That's the same batch. So you can see that this is quite tight. Can you see this is just like dreamy? Look at that. Oh, it's too much. Let's put this in the fridge. So all these little bubbles here, that's carbon dioxide, okay? And trapped inside our dough. Look at this. Oh, come on, look at those beautiful. See these holes? Come and have a look at these holes. Like, they're really fine. And these holes are what's going to give you that sponginess and the texture. So we can just push this back and we'll push the air out. So what I can do is split this bread in half. We'll take this, pop that there for a second, cover it up, put it in the fridge. But you grab a bit, make a pizza, do some little rolls. You can create little dumplings around leftover sort of chilies or bologneses. You can steam them, like you can roast them. So just have this kind of dough in your fridge. It's a cool thing. I'm just gonna press the dough out to like the size of A4 kind of bit of paper. We're gonna go for a little bit of like chocolate spread, hazelnut chocolate spread that you guys know. Pop it in the microwave for 10 seconds. So look, 10 seconds just helps it be much more kind of spreadable. 4 big tablespoons, I'd say, about 160, 180 grams. So just use that spoon just to see how nice and satisfying that is, just to sort of spoon it around. Best friend of chocolate is orange. Use a fine grater, even on a box grater, and just zest a little orange. You hardly need any really to make a difference, but chocolate orange breakfast bread. Come on. So it might not look like much orange, but that will make all the difference. So look, this is proper child's play. Very, very simple to do. So just, confidently take this and start to roll it up. And you can pinch the little sides if you wish to stop the chocolate coming out. Pinch it. You can do it badly. You can roll it. It doesn't really matter. And now you've got a chocolate and bread log, right, with a hit of orange. Take a knife, not quite to the end, and we'll go straight down the middle, like that. And what you'll do is expose sort of texture. So look at that, right? You've layered it, you've laminated it, you've made the everyday exciting. So through flavor combination, but also fantasy, texture, shape. So get yourself a little loaf tin like this, any one you want. This is non-stick, but you can rub it with a bit of oil, no problem. And then literally just turn it over like this, and don't worry about it being, a bit rough and ready. What will happen is, and what is very generous, is that as this proves, it's going to double in size, right? So all those little gaps, all those little imperfections will just kind of sort themselves out. So what I want to do is a little egg wash and some crushed nuts. So egg wash is quite nice. It's going to give you the most amazing colour. So just beat up the eggs like this, and we'll just take some of that egg wash like that and just brush it onto the white dough, not onto the chocolate. Now when you do this, this will make it go golden and gorgeous beyond all belief. And then you can take some nuts, in this case, best friends of chocolate, hazelnuts, but it could be any nut. It could be pistachio, almonds. So put your nuts in there, crack them up. Then when you bashed it up, just sprinkle that over the top. And as that proves, it will just wind into the nuts. They'll stick to the top like that, and it will be absolutely incredible. So what you want to do now is just put this in a little corner of the room. You can put a wet cloth over it as well to create that humidity. You don't really want a window open or a draft. And in about an hour, 40 minutes to an hour and a half, that will double in size, right? And when it's doubled in size, then we can bake it. So look at that. Absolutely beautiful. So the yeast is continuing to do its work. It's making it all plump and gorgeous. That's going to be the sponginess, right? We're going to go into a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius for 25 minutes. Put it towards the bottom of the oven, and that heat from the oven will give it another lift again, right? So open and gently close the oven straight away, and that's a beautiful thing. So look at this. There's your beautiful chocolate bread. Golden bits, nutty bits. Let that cool down for normally around like 20 minutes, but we're not gonna have time today. Right. Can you hear the crunch? And then on the inside, look at that. You got the sponge wrapped with the chocolate, the nuts. That is gonna be a thing of joy. Let's have a little try. For a breakfast bread, come on, absolutely beautiful.
Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to make an amazing banana bread. First thing you have to do is you have to grease this tin. So you're going to take a kitchen cloth, and you're going to just take a small amount of butter and rub it around your tin. So there you go, nice and greased. So we've greased this tin, and now we're going to cream our butter, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So we do this to make it fluffy and smooth and to get some air into it. So we use a spoon and we just beat it and mix it together. Make sure your butter is nice and soft so it's easier to smooth down. You can use a spatula to get the butter off the sides. So now I'm going to give my hands a wash. Next, you're going to crack 2 eggs into the butter. Oh my god, a double yolker! These eggs are from my own chickens. It looks a bit like scrambled eggs. So when you're mixing it in, don't worry if it looks a bit lumpy, because at the end it will all come together. So now we're going to add our bananas. The browner the better. You don't need a knife, you just smush them up into the mixture. This is a great way to use up manicured bananas. They're not bad though. So you get yourself a fork and you just use the fork to push down the bananas and smooth them down. Keep going until it's all mushed in. Because there's no sugar in this, we're going to add a bit more sweetness. You need about 2 tablespoons of honey. There we go. Next, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of apple juice. Yeah. Yum. Save the rest for later. Next, we're going to mix it all together. No! Well. Next, we're going to add our dry ingredient. You need 250 grams of self-raising flour. Is it all of this? You're going to use a spatula to fold it in. So different to mixing it, we're folding it so we keep all the air inside of it. This is how you fold. It's making my arm ache a bit, but it's going to be worth it. Now we're going to add a big pinch of cinnamon. See how all the ingredients have come together now? So now I'm going to add these pecan nuts. These nuts you can use the cross-chop method. How you do this is you put one of your hands on top of the knife and the other hand on the handle and just move it around. It's a good method because it's very safe. If you don't want to use a knife, you can crash them up with a rolling pin or you can crunch them in your hand. So different things that you could add are peanuts, walnuts, hazelnuts, chocolate, chocolate chips, dried fruit, dried mango. Aren't dried raisins dried grapes? Raisins, dried bananas, oh yeah, and chocolate. So now you're going to add these chopped up nuts to your mixture. Here we go. And we're going to mix that in. And that's it. And now we're going to have a little clean up. So now this is all mixed in, you're going to pour this mixture into this tin. So we're going to hold it like this and we're going to pour the mixture to get all the mixture off the side and into the tin. Now we're going to use a spatula to smooth it out. Now we can add some toppings. You can do whatever topping you like, but I'm going to add some chopped bananas. So you can do this with a blunt knife or you can do it with an adult. That's going to be about enough. And on here, we're just going to sprinkle them on the top. So we're just going to put about 6 on. So there you go. It's got a bit of a gap at the top because it's going to rise in the oven. Now we're going to go and bake it. So this is my banana bread. It's been cooled on a drying rack and it's ready to be eaten. I've got 2 slices. That's what it looks like inside. So you can spread anything in it really. You can spread chocolate spread, you can spread honey, jam, really anything you can think of. So now I'm going to have a taste. This is my impression of Daddy too. God. I'm embarrassing myself.